But at 4 minutes, they really like slow it down.
Okay.
Where it goes like it's
getting into that blues.
Yeah, and then it
Alright.
like works into that, and then they kind of sing a couple more things, and it's.
Hello and welcome to Mastering Mediocrity Music Reviews. I am Jeff.
I'm Ben and Mark.
Eat some tacos. I'm Ben. Jesus Christ. Fuck you, Ben. Happy Marine Corps birthday.
Yeah,
So today we are here to scrutinize, celebrate, and review the Fumes
Guns of
Gold. Yes. And this is the Fumes debut album, 2006, 1 hour and 4 minutes long. And give me your initial thoughts, Mark.
Alright. I took a screenshot of this article that I wanted to read, and I think this person does a fantastic rundown.
Just of like summarizing the band or actually giving some history to them?
It's more just summarizing. So like this band is not popular now. Very I don't know. They just like they
underground almost now?
Yeah, it's very underground now, and it wasn't really ever very mainstream to begin with. There's no Wikipedia.
No, it's really weird.
Yeah, there's no website.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah, this band at one point toured with Queens of the Stone Age in Australia, so they were, and that's in Queens of the Stone Age, like
are huge. They're huge. Yeah.
So this is like their opening act. So they had definitely a following going at some point, and then as time went on, it just kind of fell off. What we can get into.
Things happen.
Very hard to find. You're not just going to find this band on the internet. You had to basically go digging to find them. I found 2-3 articles online over the entire history that they've been around.
That's about what
written
I found.
about them. And this one is written about their next album, Sundancer, their second one.
Okay.
But what he says here at the end, I think sums it up beautifully. So he goes, blah, blah, blah. He's talking about lyrics of the song. But then he goes, this kind of song, we'll just say this kind of album, where you're showing the band to someone for the first time, you'd play it. It embodies everything these gentlemen do best. Dirty lyrics that feel like they've been dragged through the mud, coexisting with a massive blues sound that emanates from the very limited amount of sources. It's a 2-person band.
Yes.
So just drums and guitar. No one does it better than seminal 2-piece The Fumes. Just to reiterate that last point, no one does this better. And I 100% wholeheartedly agree.
There's nobody else who does it.
Exactly.
I mean, like,
you'll catch a piece of this album sound here and there on other albums. Like Gary Clark Jr., he'll kind of touch this rocky blues, simple blues rhythm, super catchy, tap your foot, smack your hand.
Yes.
What's the I'm gonna get my gold on the ceiling.
It's not going to me.
What's that band? The Black Keys.
Okay.
The Black Keys, all their popular songs, none of them have any kind of blues sound to them really at all. And they're very orchestral. There's way more than just the two of them. You go to like some of their earlier albums, when it's just playing the two, like Rubber Factory and Thick Freakness, like you'll catch some of that. Those really like distorted blues-based rhythms and like kind of like lyrics that are almost impossible to understand as they drag their words out to the next one.
Yeah.
But it's only like you catch one song off this album, you catch one song off that album. Like I've never heard anybody that can put an album together like this and they just, to me at least, there's only like 2 or 3 songs on here that I'll skip, and the rest of them to me are like 9s and 10s.
Gotcha.
They're repetitive, which can be a downside if you really like a more complex type of music. But like it's just impossible not to, like when you're just doing something, just like tap your foot.
Yes.
Like, listening to it, like it's impossible not to do that.
100% on that fact. It is, I'm not going to say it's not my speed of music, but the speeds that they hit, to me, they're a little bit like ZZ Top.
Yeah.
They're a little bit like the Rockin' Tours, and they're a little bit like Arctic Monkeys. And they're Australian, right?
Yeah.
So initially I was thinking that maybe they were British, actually, because they have that... The mid-2000s was really big for Jack White and the Raconteurs and
Yeah.
Arctic Monkeys. Like that's when like they were starting to really step up. And there's this kind of like noisy bluesy rock sounds that permeates between those. It's really about the rhythm and that like heavy distorted guitar that's just
A lot of slide work.
yeah,
Using
there's
the
slide work in there. So I was confused because I was like, I'm getting this British rock vibe, but it's so bluesy and has like deep Southern influences. Like the article said, dragged through the mud. Like a lot of the lyrics has this kind of like coal miner.
Yeah, well, I think that's like
Small
sticking
town
to
feel
that
to
blues theme, you know, because that's like that's what blues lyrics are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're you know, you might have like 12 lines in a song. A lot of times they repeat, you know, and it's very down on your luck kind of mentality. But I think this album isn't really. No, there isn't really a song in there that like it kind of has that vibe to it though.
It's not like, a huge downer.
No,
at
it's
all,
really like upbeat.
Yeah.
You know, like even like the grocery store song we're talking about, Round Grocery Store. Like some of it's like entertaining, even though I don't really care for that song all that much. But
that one has guitar harmonics that I just can't.
It's too much.
Yeah,
it's too much. It's too fast.
There's a left-right audio play in there too. Like when you have headphones in, you're like, and it's already kind of screechy to a degree, and I was like, no, I like, but then it has like the up-tempo nature, and you're like, oh yeah, I kind of like that.
It's a fun song. But if
I'm
gonna listen to the whole album, it's a nexter.
Yes. So let's get into a little bit of their history. So 2006. I think they're founded in
2004 is what I read in an article.
That they were founded?
Came together in 2004.
So I saw 2002, and that's the problem.
Yeah, it's like really a handful of articles online from like no-name news websites.
Yeah.
You know, that are probably Australian even.
So the biggest one I saw was Beat.com, but it was the Australian branch of Beat.com, and it was about their like 2009 tour, and I think it was kind of like slightly post that. So like they were talking about how they went on tour in North America. They had toured with Clutch, which is kind of a big band, but there was only like 3 events where they toured with them.
Yeah, I think they did New York for a couple, and then
music
that was
festivals. Yeah, so they got introduced to the U.S. market, and to me, there's 3 songs that kind of meet that bill. But other than that, it's almost more of a southern sound. Like I think they would have done well in the South, but I don't think they really hit that market too terribly much.
Yeah,
they went to Columbus like 3 times. Columbus, Ohio. They went to Columbus, Ohio like 3 times, and they've actually been there. I almost want to say semi-recently.
Really?
Yes, they're the latest North American concert was in Ontario, Canada, and that was 2019. So they're like semi-active.
Oh, okay.
Right, so that was off of Songkick, which is like kind of like Bandcamp to a degree.
Okay.
But, so as I was
their tour history and all that.
Yeah, and so I saw all of it. Like they Queens of the Stone Age at the kind of the beginning when they were coming up, but when you look at them, you can tell there was a break. Like something happened to them.
In one of the articles I read. After Sundancer came out, they toured with that, and then Joel Battersby, I think was the drummer's name. He left, and Steve Merry took time off.
So both of them had it.
So I think like probably both of them just on the road going. I don't know. I mean, it's all speculation because there's really no information. But
who's the third guy now?
I don't know who the 2 new
Steve
people
Merry
are
and
now.
Joel Battersby.
To start with, they did the first 2 albums, and then the 2015 album. Like, I hate to say anything bad about this band because this album is one of my favorites of all time. As fresh as it is, I know it kind of skews me a little bit, but I loved it. Yeah. And to listen to their last album and not put a single song on, like my liked playlist was just kind of ugh.
I think their latest album, 2015, it has a song that's their number 1 listen right now. It doesn't have the most listens, but it's their number 1. Their top 5 is interesting because it's got one from 2015, and then it's got some surprises in there. So, was it Atlanta Rising, which is the first song on this album, is like number 2 or number 3.
Yeah, that's the one that came on after The Last Knife Fighter. So when I finished Last Knife Fighter, and Atlanta Rising came on, I go, oh man, I really like this song. I'm going to check this band out. Yeah. And then I listened through the album, I was like, fuck!
And that was just like, oh, hell yeah.
Like, this is amazing. You never catch a new artist like that, and it's just like, holy shit, I'm blown away.
Which was cool. I mean, yeah, you immediately came to us and was like, yeah. So, like, The Last Knife Fighter was, it was alright, it was good. Like, but then Automobile, we started listening to Automobile, and I was like, oh yeah, this is going to be much better.
No, I put on Tell Your Story Walking that night.
Okay.
That's the one I put on.
And that one was good, too. That was more upbeat. So, like, I think I get to that song, and
it's
by that point, I'm like,
it's a really long song.
It's a long album, but yeah, going back to just a little bit more of their like current status, they have a Facebook page.
They have an Instagram too. I don't have Instagram,
I didn't catch that. But it's like they post maybe every 3 months.
Yeah, you might get a handful of comments. Probably I would imagine local Australians that will see them up at wherever. Hey, can't wait to see you again. When you playing again? It's a lot of that. Like, when you playing? Can I get the lyrics? Yeah. Like, you can't find the lyrics to any of their songs online.
Yeah, there was a guy asking for his lyrics. Yeah,
it's like, like I've listened to this album dozens of times at this point, and there are still songs where it's hard for me to pick up more than just a handful of words through each like string of
bluesy vocals with distorted guitar. Don't mix well.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the same with the Last Night Fighter. It was just you miss a lot. They had their 2015 album when they released that and they started going on tour. They had like a Twitter account which is still around, and there was a lot of posts, like some pretty decently well produced live camera stuff going on. Like they were kind of trying to bring things back up, and to me it was like, all right, so 2006 they go and they tour locally, they do pretty well. 2009 Sundancer hits and they start touring. They kind of go all over the place with their North America, Australia, Canada, and like it seems like they're doing well, and it's just like they just run out of steam.
Yeah,
and it's just not really popping off.
They broke up and quit doing it, and then like now you're out of the game and you can't just jump back in.
Yeah, and they had a website, thefumes.net, and it's not running anymore. It's sad. Like, these guys are good. They're like one affiliation away, whether they got to a music, not a music, they got onto a soundtrack, or they got onto just New York radio, something that just allowed them to break the bubble of cult followings.
Yeah,
just get into the pop culture purview. Like Automobile could have made it onto a movie. Chase scene or something like that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what was on like the radio in 2006 though. Like, with this kind of like, is it even doable at that point? I know like Jack White had it, but like when you think about people that are kind of like bluesy influenced, other than going back to like the 70s, or a lot of those guys at least, Led Zeppelin at least throws out quite a few like straight up blues songs. But like, are you getting anything other than like Jack White? Maybe the occasional here and there would have been able to break through at that time in music.
It's like, unless you're getting onto what was the movie where like the dudes get raped by the river?
Get raped? Oh, Deliverance.
Deliverance. Like maybe they make it on that album. Maybe
Deliverance was like made in the fucking 90s, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, no, I'm saying they get onto a movie of that. They're like, oh brother, where art thou? I'm just saying like they get into like a country, like Deep South type soundtrack, and then like some that breaks the bubble.
With a cult following or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, like oh brother, where art thou?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like no one would listen to those bluegrass songs if it wasn't for that movie.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying is like, and then you break the bubble, you get a larger audience, and it's just a song. But because it's a song that's in a soundtrack, it gets to a wider audience. There's probably a ton of bands that are in that same...
Oh, I'm sure. Well, like, I went on a deep dive, if you like this, like, check out this band, because I read that, and I read the article, and I was like, oh, I want to say that during the podcast, but I should like really kind of try to take a deep dive into this to make sure like they are the best at doing this. And I went through, probably 15 different similar artists, and again, I would just listen to their top 5. I didn't go through every album, but I'm like every 5 or 6, I'd like one song, but it still just didn't touch. It didn't have the right mix. It's like this guy's tone of voice, the lyrics he chooses to sing when you can kind of understand them, but even just the way he sings them and the tempo of the songs. I think Joel Battersby plays a big part in like that, tapping your foot, because he plays really simple drum progressions or rhythms or whatever, but they're fucking catchy.
Yeah.
It's a simple drum kit. There can't be a couple snares, a couple cymbals, and a bass. Like it's not.
Toms, 2 toms, snare, bass. Yeah. So now watching them, they're playing guitar and stand-up bass with a drum soundtrack.
Yeah, on Facebook on the videos they've put it, which is like you might get 1 or 2 a year. I would guess they're probably not really doing a whole lot as a band anymore.
Yeah. To your point, it is their lane. I've not heard a band like this because it is bluesy Southern British rock, all wrapped
with some
up.
punk thrown in there in some songs too.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of that's more of like a drum driver than it is a lot
through the chorus. It kind of has that where it's like and then they go back into the blues.
Yeah, it's funny that like there are websites that kind of refer to him as a punk. I hear it, but I would never slot.
And really, I listened to their other 2 albums too, and it's only on this album that you'll get any notion that there's even a relationship of the thinnest kind to punk rock.
Gotcha.
Like their other ones are definitely more like a deeper, more complex, kind of drift away from the blues a little bit more sound. It's in the rock lane, but it's different.
Yeah. Fun fact.
We should take these shots.
Yeah.
Yes.
You gotta play Ben's role.
Yes.
I'll just keep talking. All right. Cheers,
mate.
Back to 3 chord.
Rocking that whiskey. God, it's so bitey.
Yeah, it's just like a smack in the face, and it's like...
Yeah. It's like a Sour Patch Kid.
Yes, it is. I was actually just about to say that. Thanks for stealing my thunder right there.
Gotta be quick around here.
Oh, so no, fun fact. AC/DC is from Australia. I had no idea.
Yeah. I didn't know that either.
I had no idea. But I looked up the Fumes, Australian band, and then for whatever reason, an article came up that said, like, top 10 most influential Australian bands, and I was like, there's no way the Fumes are on here. And they weren't. But AC/DC was number 1.
I mean, you gotta think, though, like, Australia is really just this.
Yeah. Like, the population is like
Australia.
Sydney to Melbourne.
I don't know how many, like, large cities they have, but, like, I would think, somebody who's state popular in here.
I'd love to go to Australia. Mastering Mediocrity should visit Australia just for the fuck of it at one point. Like,
we'll show up at this guy's house and just be like, thank you, sir.
Your music is amazing.
You changed my life.
To me, I'm just extremely happy that as a result of the show and doing like The Last Night Fighter, you ran into it because of that.
Dude, I've been thinking, I have thought about that a lot. Like the number of steps of decisions that were made and things that happened for me to discover this band that is going to be one of my all-time favorite albums.
Yeah.
It's wild.
It's really cool. There was a band that I did with Ben called Hurt, and they were more of like a timing thing for me, but I still really, really, really like them. They are a band that does music that nobody else has done. Well, a lot like this. Like, they have elements of other stuff, but they're like... It's hard to describe them because they're hard rock, but they're soft rock, but they're emo.
It's taking back something.
It's the context is very emo, but they almost have this almost like symphony sound to them. It's very musical. It's very like...
Hurt is the band name?
Yeah.
Okay,
You won't like them at all. But
Okay.
check out, there might be things that you appreciate about them. But they're very interesting. So it's like, to me, there's this band that's in a similar way. They had their moment in time, and they're amazing for that period of time. But
they just kind of
puttered off. Yeah, it's like they just never broke through. And
yeah, part of that's kind of like sad to see, like, especially because I loved this band and I really like their next album quite a bit too. You know, maybe it's better that the people that are involved were, you know, stepped off into a quieter life. You know, who knows what could have, you know, all could have went down real badly.
yeah, I mean, what if
At
they
some
just started
point.
creating a whole bunch of garbage?
Yeah.
You know, and then you'd kind of lose a little bit of respect for them. But they didn't. And here you are, and you've got a new favorite band. And that's what we're here for.
Yeah, I think that calls for a celebration.
I believe it does as
I think
well.
we celebrated, scrutinized,
And reviewed.
and reviewed.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you like Jack White, you like Gary Clark Jr., you like anybody else in that lane that has
I feel
rock
like
or
it,
blues, I think you'd like this too.
I'm willing to say, like, if you like the Whiskey Myers, the Culture Walls of the world too,
Yeah.
we've done, like,
There's songs on here you could take from it.
yeah, definitely adjacent.
Yeah.
They're not
You
exactly
could take
the
Atlanta
same.
Rising. You could take Postman's Inn. That's pretty digestible. Across
To
a
me,
pretty
so
broad
far,
range.
even though, like, the audio was totally missed and we didn't actually get to post the videos for Culture Wall, he may be the best storytelling singer there is. Kate McCannon, like, I love that song. It is like a fucking 50 out of 10. It is so good.
He's good. He's ridiculously good. For
I'm
his
so
age,
upset about
too.
the
It's
audio.
unbelievable that somebody his age can come up with that kind of
It gives me goosebumps.
sound. And
He fucking kills her at the end.
yeah,
Like,
and I put 3 rounds into Kate McCannon.
Like, it starts off with accusing him of killing her, and you're like, you're thinking, like, no, there's
Yeah.
no way he killed her. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He sees her in
She
the
was
creek
cheap.
with another lover, and
Yeah.
he's not happy about it. The build-up in that is just... That's what I'm saying. Like, this album's good. Fine. But, man, Kate McCannon
Is better.
is better than every single... Like, that song destroys
At the end
everything.
of every podcast, be like, was it better than
Kate
Kate
McCannon. You gave it a 10 out of 10?
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
Was it better than Kate McCannon's? Yeah, I like that. We'll do that. Let's take the shots.
Yes, sir.
All right.
All right. Cheers,
Cheers,
mate.
mate.
First time for a duo
Oh,
for me.
taco. Young
Oh,
band.
it's backwards.
That's fine. It's gotten warmer, but it's still good.
It hits the same almost every time.
I'm a fan.
Yeah. I'll
I
stand
give
by
it
my 8.
I'm gonna raise it to a 7.75 because if everything gets worse when it gets warm,
for sure.
and that's still good. So just for that, like, maybe it's not a great cold shot. But
I thought it was good cold. I thought it was better cold, but it's still not bad.
Oh yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
I feel
is,
like the heat's staying a little longer with the warmth.
I appreciate that it's still almost as good, even though we're like 40 minutes later.
Yeah.
All right. You want to close that out this time? Are you ready this time?
No.
God damn it. If you liked what you saw here today, please like, subscribe.
Ring the bell and watch the show.
Tell Ben's mom.
Yeah.
Love you guys.
Bye.